All right. Hello, hello. Hi, guys. Oh, looks like there's quite a few people already logged in, already tuned in. That's awesome. All right, we're about a minute to 7. We'll wait a few minutes so everyone can get situated, get logged in, tune in. Thank you so much for joining me this evening. It's Wednesday, and I like to call it Watercolor Wednesday. So this is very appropriate. Hello to Morgan. Thank you so much for joining me. Yeah, let me know in the chat, maybe where you're from. Maybe have you done a painting with me before, whether that's on here on YouTube Live or possibly in a Zoom with Artist Palette Durham Region. Let me know. Let me know if you're a beginner. I love when beginners are tuning in. Hello to LMD. And a Yeti ate my sandwich. What name is that? That's funny. I like it. Tuning in from America, Calgary. Charlotte's a beginner. I love that. Joanne's first time with me from Mississauga. So we're pretty close, Joanne. I'm in London, Ontario. So I'm not actually in the Durham area. I'm a little bit southwest of Durham, but still in Ontario. Hello to Cindy in Texas. And Crafty Lady in New Hampshire. Nashville. Looks like California. Sheila and her 7-year-old from Winnipeg. Welcome. Yeah, I love when kids participate and adults, and then you can see the multi-generations takes on my instructions on the painting. I love it. Love it. Oh, there's so many comments. I can't read them all. Let's get started with supplies, and then we'll do the actual drawing and the painting. So I've got so many things kind of within the frame. We'll go through them one at a time. So we are going to be doing a drawing first. And I think the best tool for doing a drawing is a pencil and an eraser. We'll do a very light pencil line so that the pencil's not visible in the final piece, but we could also lightly erase, say after we've done the pen, so we won't have any pencil visible. So if you have a variety of pencils at home, choose like a H, which are generally a harder, thinner, lighter lead, 2H, 4H, that kind of thing. I'm going to be drawing my pencil sketch a little bit darker so that the camera can see my pencil line. So I'm actually going to be using a B pencil, which is a lot darker than I would normally choose. But if you do have a selection of pencils, grab an H. So pencil and eraser, let's set that down right here. So after the pencil drawing, we're going to do our stippling. So we are going to make a lot of tiny dots. Some people would call this pointillism, stippling, whatever you want to call it. That's what we're doing. We're making a lot of tiny, tiny dots. Let's look a little bit closer at this if you haven't seen the painting up close. Tiny dots. So from a distance, it looks like lines, but way up close, it's actually tiny dots. So the more densely packed the dots are, the darker the area appears, such as the windows. I've just done a bajillion dots per square inch so that it looks just black. Versus, well, white areas, we just leave white, but there's little dots kind of on the edges of that area to give it sort of a shading effect. So yeah, and you can really see the metallics really shining in the light there, and we'll talk about those. So I have some different pens here. That's upside down. I've got some micron pens from Sakura, different sizes. I can choose one of those. I also have some drawing pens by Le Pen, also different sizes there. Whatever pens you have or you're thinking about using, we need to make sure they're waterproof. So a quick way to tell if they're waterproof, I have a little scrap of watercolor paper. I could just, draw something, draw your initials. I'm going to grab one of these as well. We're going to test if it's waterproof. The pen you use must be waterproof. Going to get a little water. Nothing happened there, no smudgy smears. And again, nothing happens there either. So both of these pens are waterproof. I already know that, but that would be a quick way to test if your pen at home is waterproof. Okay, so we'll put these pens, where are we going to put them? Within reach, over there. Some kind of paper to do your drawing and your painting on. So we are going to be using watercolor paint. So I have this watercolor pad here. Canson XL watercolor paper. Mine's quite a big size. Mine's 11 by 15. You could do this composition on 9 by 12. This could be bigger paper. This could be a square piece of paper. It doesn't have to be rectangular. It doesn't have to be this brand, of course, but I do recommend watercolor paper because it will soak up that water. Regular, say, drawing paper, like a sketchbook, or like computer printer paper won't hold the water that we're going to be using with our watercolor paints. So I do recommend some watercolor paper. This brand, this type here is, I always say, a medium quality for a medium price. It's not too expensive nor too cheap. So that's what I'm going to use. Where I'm going to put this. Let's set that there. I do have a ruler to help me make, say, straight lines of the trees, the house or cabin. If you don't have a ruler, use this straight, hard edge of anything. It could be the edge of a Christmas card that's nearby, your credit card, the edge of a magazine or book. It doesn't have to be a ruler. We're just going to make some straight lines with it, not necessarily measuring things. So yeah, even this ruler is way too big. It's a huge ruler. I've got some paints here. You can use paints that are in pans like this, like hardened little bricks of paints, or you could be using watercolors in tubes. Where's my tubes? Here's some watercolor tubes. Either will work. I mean, there's also liquid watercolors in jars and bottles. You could use that. You could also possibly use watered down acrylic. You might not get the same result with it blending and mixing and blooms and things, but in a pinch, you could use some watered down acrylic. So I just have a couple of different sets here. I've got some Mei Liang. This is just on Amazon. And then these are some beam paints. I've got some shiny metallics. I've got some regular. These are all kind of regular. I also have, shake them up a little bit, silver and gold ink. I could possibly add some of that in there to add some metallic sparkle. I also have, where'd it go? This is just a cheap set from, I believe it was Artist Loft. Ooh, fallen out. Metallic or pearlescent paints, you can add those in. But if you don't have any pearlescent or metallic paints, you could just use your regular watercolors and still achieve a beautiful painting, even without metallic stuff in there. Or you could add some later. You could always add some later. There's just some examples of paints, any brand, any colors you want to do. I also have a couple of brushes, kind of a bigger one and a smaller one. I've got my paper towel, my water, jar of water. Oh, very important, glass of wine. And then we need something circular, a circle. So I'm thinking a plate or a bowl. And what's beautiful about this YouTube live feed, you can pause. Do you guys realize you can hit pause at the bottom of the screen here, pause, and then go grab a plate. Grab a plate to trace. We need a circle to trace. So something that's, smaller than your paper, a nice big size. Fill up a lot of your paper to have a nice big composition here. So yeah, you are able to hit pause and then grab your plate, come back, press play, and you are able to set the playback back as well. So if I've said something and you didn't quite catch it, just set the playback, back. Listen to it again. And this video, once we're done the live, will be up forever. So you're able to watch this again tomorrow, tweak things. You could just be watching tonight, and then tomorrow you're going to do the actual painting. That would be all right too. Okay, I think I did all the supplies. I'm going to move some stuff out of the way because we're doing our drawing first. The drawing is first. We need some room to draw. Get this out of here. All right. It's up to you if you want to have your paper in the pad or out of the pad. You could have your paper taped down to something if you wanted to. I'm just going to have it loose. We kind of have like smaller areas of paint. So, I mean, the paper does warp a little bit. There's a little bit of a wobble, but not too bad because we're not filling like absolutely the whole thing with paint. Get this cord out of here. Well, that's just going to be there. Get your pencil and your eraser. Get your big plate or something circular. Yeah, I'm going to trace that with my pencil. Now at home, I want you to draw lightly. Draw as light as you can, but still be able to see it, of course. I'm going to draw mine a little bit darker than I normally would so that you all can actually see it. Let's see if I can read a couple of comments. Lots of people have painted with me before. That's awesome. We're all over the place, all over the States and Canada. Awesome. Even some places that are not snowy are tuning in. I love it. I love that. What's a good angle here? Get both of them in the shot. That's pretty good. Why does it look so skewed? Let's go. That's a little better. That's a little better. Okay, so we've got our big circle. Draw lightly, of course. And everyone's compositions are going to be different. Don't worry that maybe my hill is a little bit bigger or smaller than your hill. This is my world. At home, it's a completely different world. That's your world. So, the hills are going to be different. The house or the cabin might be bigger or smaller, different style, different color. It's all good. We want to see, we don't want to see exact copies of mine. We want to see your style, your spin on the painting. So don't worry about getting the exact amount of trees, let's say. I'm going to start with the hill that's sort of closest to us, the biggest one we could call it. Just a nice swooping shape, up, down, up. If you want your hill to go down, up, down, it could. Doesn't have to go up, down, up like mine. Kathy's wondering if they could use a canvas board. Sure. I have definitely put watercolors on canvas and canvas board before. You get a different effect. It's kind of, you can see the canvas texture, and I think that's pretty cool. I've definitely put watercolor on canvas before. Okay, so that was the first hill. Let's do another hill. And, at this point, maybe we're about halfway up the circle, but You know, you do you. In your world, maybe yours is more than halfway up the circle. Like this, maybe something like this. Any amount of hills, any heights. Maybe you want 3 bumps where I have 2 bumps. And your house. Do you want your house over here? Your house could be in the middle. Your house could be over here. Your house could be tinier and in the distance. Anything goes here. Anything at all. For the moment, I'm not going to draw the house. I'm going to draw a little hill. Let's kind of go right in here, wherever you want. Like literally wherever you want. And then maybe I'll have a series of, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 in the background. So we're skipping over where the house is for now and just doing some hills. We'll do one there. And maybe over here, maybe I don't want 2. Maybe I just want 1. Maybe I just want it to go like that. And then this will be sky. So maybe you have more sky than me. Maybe you have less sky than me. It's all good. It doesn't have to look like mine to be considered right. Don't look at yours and say, oh, this is wrong. No, no, no. Not at all. You can adjust anything you want to adjust. So I'm thinking maybe this hill is a little too small. Maybe I want to make that one a little bit bigger. Absolutely. Erase, adjust, smooth out. Maybe this one goes all the way to the side now. I just decided it did. Maybe this goes like that. Maybe in your world you want to add one more little hill closer to you. Go for it. Maybe you want to have jagged mountains up here instead of smooth hills. Sure, go for it. All right, so here's where we can insert our house or our cabin. Maybe you want to make yours more like a shanty. Maybe it's more decrepit, falling over. Maybe you want to make an A-frame. You know, maybe you want to have a tent, a teepee. Could be any kind of structure you want. Or what about no structure? Have you thought about that? You don't have to have a house here. You do you. Okay, I'm going to go with, I think I'll stick with kind of something similar to that. Grab your ruler, put it behind whatever hill you want to put it behind. Could be behind this one, could be behind that one. Make a little structure. I'm going to go like this. Yeah, you could make this look like a cabin or a home that you know. You can make it look like your friend's cabin or home, or just invent it from your mind. Any shape, any size. I mean, that's not even the same on this side. Adjust anything you need with your eraser. There we go. There's one chunk of my house that's kind of like this part here. And I'll add, maybe they built an addition. They built a little addition at one point. Maybe their family grew bigger. You could have a different style of roof. Maybe your roof goes up to a point and you have these nice high, maybe some windows. Could have some nice big windows in that point. Okay, so we've built an addition on our house, our cabin, And I've got like a little bitty, little covered, maybe that's their front porch, little bitty little roof there. I'll draw that in. And everyone's drawing lightly at home, right? Light pencil lines so that we don't see a lot of visible pencil. Any kind of structure, if you want a more sprawling ranch style house, you can do that. I'm going to use my eraser to erase whatever's inside, those inside lines that I don't need. Don't need those. Did I even introduce myself at the beginning? I think I just kind of launched right into it saying hi to everyone, but I didn't say hi myself. My name is Chris. That's short for Kristen. Of course, we're here with Artist Palette Durham region on YouTube. We have a Facebook. We have a website. So you probably found us on probably on Facebook, I think. That's the most active. Okay, so here's my little cabin. I erased the unnecessary hilly lines on the inside. And remember, you can pause this. So if I'm getting ahead of you, hit pause, work on your cabin a little more. All right, I am going to draw in, say, my windows, but we don't have to draw, say, the icicles on the house, because we could just do that when we do our stippling, those little icicles. So draw a few windows. They could be square like these. They could be rectangles. They could be ovals. They could be octagon-shaped windows. You know, those exist. Make this your dream cabin. Any kind of window. And I've got like one big one over here, but you know, any amount of windows, any style. Now in my world, the door is kind of facing like this way, but if you wanted your door to be facing us, the viewer, put a door in. There, I made that one a little bit bigger window. And then I've got a little chimney. Have you noticed my tiny chimney? Little chimney. There's even some very subtle smoke. Very subtle. So I'm going to draw a little rectangular chimney. I mean, it's so little. You can just kind of freehand it. Freehand a teeny tiny little chimney. If you wanted to put like a little tendril of smoke, you could. If you want. It's very, very subtle. Okay, trees and our path. What shall we do first? I'm thinking path before trees. Is it a path? Is it a road? Who knows? Maybe instead of a path or a road, you want to do a small stream. And then instead of a mailbox, you want to do a rock, a deer drinking from the stream. I mean, change literally anything you want to change about this. Doesn't have to be a road or a path. I'm thinking stream would be cute too. So I'm going to have my path. So this house is kind of, you know, behind this hill. So the path really could just pop out anywhere along this hill. Maybe it pops out here. At the very, furthest part, the path should be very thin. very thin, it's far away. That's just how perspective works. And then as it gets closer and winds nearer to us, wider and wider and wider. Looking at the width of mine, I'm thinking path. If you definitely want this to come across as driveway or road, go even wider than I'm doing. So I'm going to start kind of here and do maybe like a looping. And you'll notice that this path won't look like this. These hills don't look exactly like these hills. So change anything you want. So thin, 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 getting a little wider, 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 wider. So then it comes to like this hill or wherever it comes on your drawing. Could be more left, more right. And then maybe, do I want it to go this way and then this way? Sure. So it doesn't even have to start here and here because this is a hill. We don't know what's happened on the back side of the hill. Maybe the path suddenly starts right here and then swoops this way. I mean, why they didn't make a path that went straight, I'll never know. Swooping, getting wider and wider, and then it's going to come right out of the circle. It's jumping out at us, coming into the 3D world. Jump it right out. I mean, this could be a very nice composition, just like this, nothing popping out, but I kind of like things coming out at us. So this is going to come right out the page. Let's go. Should we go swooping this way? And then maybe like that, a big whoosh. There, and you'll see, you know, this is not exactly the same as this. Maybe this is a little wider. Maybe there's, you know, a little less swooping. And of course, adjust anything with your eraser that you want to adjust. So I made a little curvier curve there. Do you want to thin out? Maybe I want to thin this out a little bit. More graceful. Yeah, play around with it. Maybe you don't want one more whoosh. You want it coming like a little straighter at you. Could do. And then I'm going to erase, you know, we don't really need this line cutting through the path. We don't need that. Get that out of there. Do I want this one to go a little bit more left? No, I kind of like that. Go back. That's not bad. Not bad. Okay. And then a mailbox. What else could you have instead of a mailbox? Maybe like a statue. Maybe a rock that has like your house number on it. Sometimes people have that. My mailbox is a little bit crooked here. Maybe it's, you know, been hit. It's a little bit askew. Yours could be more straight. Doesn't have to be wonky like mine. So I've got the post, just a simple 2 lines as the post. I've got kind of a rectangle, and it's kind of on a fun angle. And then I want to make the mailbox seam rounded. So from this line, I'm going to make a round door flap. What would you call that? And this on an angle. A rounded top. And then we'll go like this. Looks like a loaf of bread, kind of. A little bit rounded on the top. And this back bit could be a little rounded too. And I put a little flag. You know, those flags. What else could you put on the mailbox itself? Your house number, handprints. You know, I'm thinking like on the movie Up, and Carl and Ellie have their handprints on their mailbox. That's kind of cute. Why does that flag look so goofy? Maybe it needs to be longer. Yeah, tweak it, erase any things you need to erase and adjust. And then there's a few little hills in the foreground. Just a couple quick curves. Nothing fancy. That's pretty good. And then really just our trees, I would say. I've got, groupings of 2 trees, groupings of 3 trees, any kind of groupings you want to do. I don't know if you can even see them very, very far back in the distance. Tiny, tiny, tiny trees, all black, way in the distance. You don't have to do yours this simple triangle shape that I've done. You could make it look, more like a jagged Christmas tree shape, evergreen tree shape. What if you want to do some bushes, some deciduous trees, like with the trunk and then like a ball on the top kind of thing. It doesn't have to be these very simplified triangles that I've done. I just kind of liked the look. So yeah, anywhere, any number, anywhere at all, any size. You can use a ruler, you can use the edge of a book, edge of your watercolor tin, anything with a straight edge. Yeah, do different sizes, different heights. But generally, as we're going further back in the distance, smaller and smaller and smaller. So have your kind of biggest ones right at the front. I mean, you could even have, something next to the mailbox. Could be. Let's do a little bundle here. Let's do something cute here. Let's see. Get some little teeny tiny ones somewhere here. By the house, maybe? And sometimes I like to pick up my drawing, hold it at arm's length, hold it away from you, and then judge, you know, do I need some more trees on the left versus on the right? Do I need more trees in the background versus the foreground? If you hold your picture like away at a different perspective, you can kind of get more of a sense of how it's balancing. Maybe a little bit up here. I kind of want one just kind of right hanging out in the middle. Yeah. Why not? Just a lone guy by himself. Where else? I'm thinking that's good. So I've got 3, 4, 5. Let's go like, I would say minimum 10 to 20 maximum. Let's not do too many. Not too many. Yeah, so you can already see differences in my two compositions. All right, that's really all we need to do with the pencil. So if you're still working on your path, your trees, your cabin, maybe you're still working on your cabin, pause the video. Pause the video at this point, work on your drawing, and then unpause when you're ready. Yeah, I think it did pretty good. You can erase any little things that, you know, lines cutting through trees kind of thing. Okay, I'm going to do like something weird. I'm going to lightly erase my whole drawing. You don't need to do this at home because you have drawn your original drawing lightly anyways. So I just need to do a little quick erase just to lighten everything. If you're going, she's erasing her drawing and I can't see it, just set the playback like 10 seconds back before I erased it. You'll still see it. You can still see it. It's just way too dark for our purposes, my purposes. Okay. There's a lot of prep in this piece and a lot of drawing, and then the painting part is kind of fast at the end. Less about the painting, more about the drawing itself. Okay, so mine is much lighter. This is how yours should be looking, just lighter in general. Dotting time. What kind of pen do I want? What size do I want? Let's see, what one's this one versus this? I'm gonna use that. Remember, a waterproof pen. It needs to be waterproof. We're going to do painting on top of it with a lot of water, so it cannot smudge. That would be no good. Okay, so I'm probably going to use a little bit of that one. If you have a choice of sizes of your micron pens, bigger. Pick a bigger one. Pick a bigger one. All right. Get out of here, you wire. Get back. All right. Dotting, stippling. It's fun stuff. We're going to be doing this for a long time. So anything, anything white, we want to limit the amount of dots that get in there. So let's have a look here. So all the way around the outside gets a nice dot treatment all the way around. The edges of the path gets the dotted treatment. All the trees around the edges there, dotted treatment. Windows get fully dotted in. We're going to add icicles as we go along the roof line. Ooh. trees way in the distance can be fully dotted in. Like that. Okay, I think I'll start with maybe the easiest thing to get us going all the way around the outside, but not through that pathway. So I'm going to start here and literally just dot, 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 dot. They don't have to be evenly spaced. Dot, 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 dot. Mine are, oh, get some light here. Yeah, they're not perfect. Dot, 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 dot. I remember doing stippling and pointillism in high school and just the whole class going for like hours, just dot, dot, dot. And then, you know, out in the hallway, people are like, what is going on in that classroom? They just hear tuck, 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 tuck. Some color in here. Why is it so like dark looking? Yeah, it's like, let's get my light. If you're working on a smaller scale than I am, maybe you'll get ahead of me in your dotting. That's okay, just dot something else, dot some trees. Let's see if this one's a bigger dot. Oh, about the same. Yep, different brands have different, even though they're both like, yeah, I think I like this one better. Yeah, and my dots aren't like perfectly on the line. Sometimes they're a little bit in or out. That's okay. Even, you know, a stray dot here and there isn't going to ruin anything. Somehow I've lost my focus. Focus, focus. Okay, that's not bad. Dot, 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 dot. All right, so I came full circle, and I'm not going to do in the path. So I've just gone around. I think I'll do kind of my hilly hills, dot along those lines. And these hills here, you can afford to be maybe a little wilder, a little messier, because we will purposefully add other dots, wilder dots, to give it like a slight shading look. It's a good thing a lot of this piece is white. Imagine if we were doing like a dark black volcano. That'd be a lot of dots. So I did one of my hills, but then I'm going to go back and like kind of add like wild dots, like here and there, a little bit below the line. Eventually your hand becomes like a little jackhammer, just da, 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 da. Almost like a tattoo gun. Your hand just does this motion. If you're finding some of your dots look more like a dash, you need to hold your pen more upright, just straight up and down. If you have your pen kind of on an angle, you're going to end up with little tails on some of your dots, more dashes than dots. Yeah, up and down gets you the best dot, of course. There, so that's sort of my first hill with some kind of wild dots to give it a little shading. We got to do that for all the hills. If there's a hill that has like a tree, you know, in front of it, you have to skip over that, right? Another hill. This is the kind of art you can do while like zoning out and like binge watching your favorite show. Yeah, so I'm teaching you how to do this kind of art, and then what I want you to learn from this and take from this is these skills to make your own compositions. So maybe tomorrow you want to make a mountain scene with like forests, jagged mountains, and you can do that. a beach scene. I did such a good job erasing and lightening my lines that I kind of lost some of them, but even if you don't know where your original lines were, you could just invent some. Just make up a new hill. Say you're dotting along and you want to round out your hill a little bit, go for it. Just change it right then and there. Let's say you do have some different sized pens at home that have different sized tips, and you wanted to, increase the amount of perspective going on in here. You could take your finest tipped pens and do the dots of your distant trees and hills with an even finer tipped pen. As an idea, you could do that. And then it would really seem like these items are further back because they're tinier dots. I'm just going to stick with my one pen. Add some wild dots here and there, wherever you want. So there's my hills. You could take, a lot more time really condensing some of those dots along the top edge. Really make it seem black with a lot of condensed dots. Or just keep it kind of loose. Yeah, definitely a few rogue dots here and there. Okay, so I'm going to move on to my cabin. If you're not quite done your hills, don't worry. Just hit pause, finish working on your hills, work at your own pace. If you have my hand is very sweaty. I have a sweaty hand, I'll admit it. I'm going to put this paper towel down under my hand so I don't, even though it's like waterproof, sometimes, even the pencil might smudge. So let's put that there and do my cabin. So as I do my, the bottom of my roof line, I'll add icicles. So I'll dip down and back up again to make kind of an icicle look. There could be rounded patches to be like snow drifts. It could be pointier icicles, longer icicles, any style of icicles you want to do. Or maybe not at all. You can just have, kind of some rounded bumps to be like snow drifts. But then the rest of the roof is pretty straight. And I'm going to keep my roofs pretty white. So I'm not going to put a whole lot of dots like on the roof itself. So here's like one icicle. They could dip down in front of your windows. Here's an example of kind of rounded bumps for the snow is kind of falling off the roof, but clinging on a little bit. So that's my roof shape so far. I'm going to throw in a few little dots. A couple dots in there. A little bit of shading. Not too much. Mostly white. And I'll do the same for the other portion of my roof, the addition they built on, and then that little mini, little covered porch. Here's my second roof with icicles. And I'll throw a few dots, a few sporadic dots for a little bit of shading, but mostly white. It's going to be a snowy roof and a little baby roof. And I'll do one little icicle on it. I'll do one big icicle on it. Couple of dots, a little bit of dots there. And then I gave my cabin, like, are they logs? Are they siding? Who knows what it is, but I made it stripy. If you want to make yours more of a brick, you could do that. Maybe yours is, what's another house thing? I'm thinking like Three Little Pigs, like straw, no. Brick, yes. Sticks, I mean logs. What are houses made of? Stucco. What if you have a stucco house? You could do that. Just put some random dots as your stucco. Brick, siding. I mean, those are kind of the main ways to finish off a house. So I've got my sides of my house, my windows of my house, and then I want to do just like horizontal lines, but using dots. If you want to first draw with your pencil, draw some lines, could do that, or just wing it. I'm just going to wing it. Horizontal lines. Maybe I'll start with a few lines just to get me started. I'm going to skip over the windows. The windows I'm going to fill in right after this. Yeah, it doesn't have to have logs or siding. It could just be flat color. Okay, that's got some siding on it. And mine aren't perfect. From a distance, you're thinking, wow, how did Chris make those so straight? They're not. From a distance, people are looking at your drawing from afar. They're not bringing your drawing right up to their face and going, oh, look at all these mistakes. So that's why I'm not worried at all. I'm very chill. Just enjoying the process. We are our own biggest critics. And we are going to paint this too, so every single little dot won't be on display. Does anyone feel like they've been making dots forever? And it's only been like 21-ish minutes of dotting. We're getting there. We're getting there. It's going to look fabulous. This process is tedious, but worth it. Okay, all right. We got some siding on that. We got some logs. It's looking cute. And now we need to fill in the black windows. Now, if you want to maybe skip dotting in the black windows and instead paint the windows black as an option, just saying. But I'm going to just go to tattoo gun mode and just dot these all fully black, or as black as I can get them. You You see the progress there? Yeah, there's some white gaps, but from a distance, it looks black. It looks solid. Pretty good. It's pretty black looking from afar. With the ones that are dark and the one that's empty, it looks like someone's bedroom light is on, but the rest of the house is dark. That's kind of funny. If you like that look, you can leave it, and then you could paint that one yellow. Kind of tells a little mini story. There we go. That's looking pretty black. Pretty cute little cabin. I think the only thing left of my cabin is my little chimney. I did kind of a little mini brick texture. Could just be lines across, and then a little, you know, like a little cap to that I left white. Let's get a little chimney on here. Yeah, it could be a stone chimney. Break it up into little stone chunks. There's my teeny tiny little chimney. And then I did draw that little bit of a wisp of smoke, but so lightly, super light. Just the tiniest dots kind of spread out a little bit. Those are too tiny, there we go. Just barely there. A wisp. A wisp. Okay. Smudgies. I'm going to do my trees. Oh, I lost my focus. I'm going to do my trees first, and then I'll do my path. So for the trees, go along the outsides, and then kind of dot a little bit inside, and kind of wild and random. Give it a little bit of kind of like a shading thing. Nothing too fancy there. Very similar to our hills. But the middle's mostly empty. Mostly empty in the middle. We're going to paint them green to really, you know, emphasize that these are trees, not just weird triangles in the landscape. All right, do I want to go? I'll probably start on this one. Again, if you do have different sized pens, you could do finer dots in the furthest trees and bigger dots in the nearer trees, if that's something you wanted to do. So I'd like to tell you about a fabulous little watercolor Facebook group that we have. So it's called Watercolor Lovers by Artist Palette Durham region. And in that group, we post pictures of our art, not only the pieces that we create following the Artist Palette tutorials, but original stuff that you come up with. We also post free, what I call Watercolor Wednesday. So every Wednesday, I post a free watercolor tutorial in that group for you to do on your own time. And we've been doing it for over a year. So already in that group, you have access to over 50 free watercolor tutorials. And it's not just like full paintings, it's also like tips and tricks. So if you are brand new to watercolor, there are loads of very helpful videos in that group. I believe I have the link to the group in the description of this video. So down below in the description of this video should be a link to that Facebook group. We'd love to have you join and check out. It's a great little community. We're very encouraging of each other. You won't find negativity in there. Very beginner-friendly group. And a nice smaller size watercolor community. There are a lot on Facebook and online of watercolor enthusiasts, watercolor communities, but we're a nice small one. Occasionally we do have prize draws. We just had one for the 1 year anniversary of Watercolor Wednesday. So if you do want to join us, please click the link in the description of this video. We do lots of seasonal stuff. So, you know, around Halloween. We were doing pumpkins. Today is Wednesday. I posted some like evergreen trees you could put on a card. Just simple stuff. Just to get those creative juices flowing. Yeah, so here's some tree examples. Yeah, kind of darker around the edges, and then a few sporadic dots. You could go a little heavier with those, because your tree is darker than your snow. But we are also going to paint them too. Let's move over here. Are you thinking to yourself, why did I draw so many trees? I gotta dot all these trees. It's worth it. It's gonna look real good. Oh, you could do like a mini version of this, a little mini composition of this for seasonal cards. Oh, it'd be so cute. Yeah, it's wintry without being holiday specific, so it works for anyone. Oh, I haven't even had any wine break. Let's read some of these questions here. Oh, good night in Argentina. Yeah, this video is going to be available forever, so you could watch some of it now, watch some of it tomorrow or later. Yeah, so if you get called away, you can finish it. Let's see, we got so Kathy was going to use a canvas board. Yeah, stretched canvas is fine. I don't know how the dots would work on canvas, but you can definitely try it out and see if the dots will work. What other questions? Didn't see too many questions rolling in. Mostly just shout outs of where you're from. I love seeing how far this reaches. Apparently as far as Argentina. With Andy in Argentina. I like that. Oh, Elizabeth, are you already done all your tree dots? How about your path? You can Do your path if you haven't already done so, your mailbox. Yeah, I guess if you guys have smaller compositions than me, you might be done the whole thing already. That is true. So I've done all my sort of nearer trees. I'm going to do a few very distant in the background. So any that you have way in the far distance, you could just fill them in fully black. And they are on a much smaller scale, so it's okay. It's not going to take you forever to fill them in black. I've only got 3 in my pencil, but I'm probably going to add a handful more. And I don't even need to draw them in pencil. I could just invent it as I go. There's 3 black trees way in the distance. Maybe some over here. Laura has hand cramps. Yep, been there. Take a break. Take a little break. Stretch your legs. Pause the video. I mean, you're not missing much. Maybe try the old opposite hand. Do I have enough control? It's a little tricky, but I could pull it off with the opposite hand. Ooh. It is a lesson in self-control here. My dots are wild, but getting there. Okay, I'll switch back to my dominant hand. What else? Where else? Where else? Where else? Maybe up here. It looks kind of naked over there. Maybe just one. Maybe one little lonely guy. Okay. All right. Shaping up. Really just the path leading to our foreground, to our mailbox. Okay, path. Pretty straightforward on the path. My path is, I'm assuming it's snow that they've shoveled to get to their front door. So pretty light. So we'll just kind of outline the lines and then a few sporadic dots near the edges, but fairly light. Mostly just stick to your edges. Yes, Bonnie, we were talking a little bit earlier about you can do watercolor on canvas. You'll get different effects. it won't dry quite the same as when it dries on paper. You might see some of the canvas texture in the dried paint, but I have, what do I have nearby that's watercolor on a canvas? I might grab an example a little later to show you. But I do have some on the walls here and there. Here's an idea. You could design your own tattoo using this style of drawing and stippling. Wouldn't that be cool to say, I designed this tattoo? All right, my path, my road is starting to meander down to the foreground, getting closer. See what I mean by most of this piece is drawing and prep and stippling, and kind of the last bit of the tutorial would just slap some colors in there. It's all prep. I mean, it does look pretty good just black and white too. It doesn't have to have color. Okay, come on. Now we're jumping out of the circle. Oh, Payne's Gray, I like that. Yeah, you can do like a monochrome, pick your favorite color and add accent areas with color with just one color. I like that. As my path is getting nearer to me, further down the page, I'm getting a little wilder in my dots. So like up here, I was very careful. All my dots were kind of tidy. Here, they're getting a little wider, fatter, looser. And then down here, I'm just kind of going wild. They're all over the place. Could I get two pens involved and just really go for it? Ooh, interesting. I mean, it helps, but I'm getting a lot of like, you know, the dashes or the dots with the little tails. So I don't know that this is helping much. Double teaming this. No, don't like it. Now I'm just like making up little bumps and hills. Whatever you want to do. And I'll do my mailbox next. Terry's question. The black outlines of this dotting. No, so Terry, we're doing a stippling and watercolor painting today. But if you look at most other watercolor paintings that do have dark lines, they're mostly just lines, like a line and wash kind of painting. I just really wanted to do some stippling. I just felt like in a stippling mood when I made this piece. So I'm like, I'm going to do some dots. I could have easily drawn this out with actual lines and we could have painted that. This just adds an extra layer of creativity and learning new things. Who doesn't want to learn something new? And maybe in the future, you know, you're about to start a painting and you're like, hey, I don't have to do black lines. I could do black dots and give it a different look. But yeah, I like that question. Where else do we need a little snow bump? Yeah, and then some people will add black lines to their watercolor painting after the paint is on or before. Either way gives you different outcomes. Okay, I got some little snowy bumps down there. I'll do my mailbox. I did paint my mailbox with like a shiny silvery paint, but I've got, yeah, sort of some more condensed dots near the back to give it a little shading. A little bit more condensed dots here to give it like a cast shadow, like the mailbox is blocking the light. So there's kind of an intense amount of dots there. And then on the pole itself, a few dots, kind of like a shadow on the flap, the door. A little bit more dots on the, call it the underside of the flag. Oh, did we lose? We lost focus. We lost it. No, we really lost it. Let's give it something to focus on. Focus on this. Nope. Hello. Camera. Okay. Huh? Okay, I think we got it back. Yay! Yeah, well, we'll put this right over here. Okay. Okay. Nails here. And yeah, this doesn't have to be a perfectly straight line. Look at my wonky line. Look at those wonky lines. This is an old mailbox. Sheila's also got a hand cramp. Oh no. Has anyone's like partners or kids come into the room saying, "What are you doing making all this dotting racket?" All right, there's kind of my mailbox outline, and I'll add some wild dots as shading. Oh yeah, that really intense cast shadow underneath the mailbox onto the post. I am using Canson, Susan. Yeah, I'm using a 11 by 15. So quite a big size. I'm imagining most of you at home are doing maybe a 9 by 12 is a kind of a standard size on watercolor paper. So yeah, any size you want to do. A little mini version would be adorable. Okay, there's my little mailbox. Yeah, and you could just go ahead and darken any areas, add some more wild rogue dots amongst the snow here and there. Do you want to go around your outside circle again and really darken that, really solidify that outside circle? Could do that. Yeah, darken any trees, darken your windows. Some rogue dots on the path. Really anywhere you want to do some rogue dots, even like randomly here or there on the roof. Add another tree. Oh, we haven't even talked about, what if you want to add a person, an animal, a second cabin off in the distance? You could really add anything you want to this composition. Footprints on the path. A little bunny rabbit. really anything you want to do. You could sketch it in pencil first and then dot it, or just go right for the dots if you're feeling confident. Where else could I do a few I think I'm pretty well done the drawing. I might do a little bit of darker dots like underneath the icicles, like maybe it's a little darker from the icicles hanging down. I could do a few dots in there. Emphasize those icicles. But we've pretty much been dotting for a solid hour, because it was 7:42 when I had looked at the clock before the dots. A good solid hour of just tuk, 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 tuk. There we go. Kudos to you guys if you kept up with me that whole time and you're all done your dots. We'll give everyone a couple minutes to finish off their dotting. In the meantime, let me show you a few events that are coming up with me if you like my particular style of art or even my style of teaching it. I have lots of upcoming events that I can show you. So this will be a mix of watercolor and also acrylic, and also another surprise. Here we go. Coming up tomorrow, actually, on Zoom. So this is a ticketed event on Zoom. Happy Seal Pup in acrylic. So when you purchase a ticket to one of our Zoom events, you can attend the Zoom, or if it doesn't work out that time, you all get the recording as well. So even if you can't make the actual Zoom event, everyone gets the recording that has bought the ticket to the event. So Happy Seal Pup is tomorrow in acrylic with me. Tickets on our website, artistpalettedurham.com. Put that down. Here is an upcoming watercolor. So that was acrylic. This is a partridge in a pear tree, as the song goes. So this one's in watercolor with me on Zoom. Tickets on our website. This event is on December 23rd, so 2 days before Christmas. Christmas Eve. We're doing partridge in a pear tree. This one's fun. This is something a little different. What angle am I at here? It's a birdhouse. It is made of wood, but we add hot glue and paint to make it look like a gingerbread house. So this would work on any style of birdhouse. You don't need to find a birdhouse that's specifically the double-decker. It could be any birdhouse in a dollar store, craft store. Lots of places have birdhouses. So this is another Zoom event. This one's coming up December 18th. That's a Saturday. Get a ticket on our website if you want to join me for this gingerbread birdhouse. Lots of fun. We do work with hot glue in that one. So if you're thinking for like a kid, that kid would need supervision for sure. Let's see, coming up. So after Christmas, but before New Year's, we're going to do this fun. Here it comes. Bam! A llama who's had a little bit to drink. This one is called Celebrate Good Times Llama. This one's an acrylic. Tickets on our website. Celebrate Good Times Llama. We've got kind of that bouquet effect with the out of focus dots in the background. Lots of bright colors, super festive for New Year's Eve. So this is December 30th. So the day before New Year's Eve. So you can paint this, but still go out the next day for New Year's Eve. We don't want to take that away from you. Tickets on the website. I'll show you, let me show you one more Zoom event, and then I'll show you, I think it's my next upcoming free one. I can't remember if there's one between then and now. But anyway, this one, if you've been enjoying this particular activity today, you're going to love the whale I'm about to show you, because it is the same style. We're going to do the stippling. We're going to do the watercolor. So this one is going to be in January, January 6th. This one's a ticketed event on Zoom, but it's a very similar style to this. So if you've really been enjoying this one for free, and you maybe want to support me by buying a ticket to one of my events, this one might be a good one for you to try. So that one is Blue Whale, Stippling and Watercolor, January 6th. I do want to show you a sneak peek. I have to go grab it off the wall because I hung it up. Oh, it's on the wall. Pardon me. Okay. Da, 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 da. Butts. Oh, I have a tickle. More butts. So if you have been following Artist Palette Durham for a little bit, you might have seen my other butts series paintings. This is a sneak peek. We don't even have the official date for this yet, but this will be free on YouTube Live with me in January. I got to point out the little snowflake right there. That's my favorite part. So if you haven't seen my other butt series paintings, they are on YouTube, already loaded. You can do them anytime you want. There's safari butts, barnyard butts, and then we just did, was it last week? Woodland butts. So this is the fourth. This is the fourth in the butt series. Join me for this one free in January, right here on YouTube Live. That's my favorite. I think that's my favorite of the butt series. It's going to be called Frosty Butts, appropriately. Okay, that's some upcoming stuff. Let's get to painting, and this is just fast and fun. You can have any colors that you want. Let's get the paints down here. Let's get my water. Can we zoom out a little? And we'll bring those over there. Where's my paper towel? Where's my brushes? Everything's scattered around. Don't need that. Whatever brushes you have at home. So watercolor brushes tend to have kind of these weird long handles for some reason. Pointy tips are beneficial to get in teeny little corners. Get out of here, you wire. But really any brushes you have at home, you can use flat brushes, round brushes, dollar store brushes, just something to get the paint to the paper. I'm going to start with trees. I can start with trees. Now, let's say you have a lot of visible pencil lines. If you wanted to lightly erase those before you get started on the paint, you could do that. I'm thinking I just want to lightly erase kind of here. I did already kind of do an erase job earlier, so I'm pretty set. Just a little bit here and there. Okay, that's pretty good. We're all set for paint. If you're not ready for paint yet, pause the video. Okay, I'm thinking a lovely emerald green, kind of a bluier green. I've got some of that right here. And I always, I dip into the water, I get some paint on the brush, but then I bring it over to the mixing area or bring it to a plate or a palette. Maybe you have, something like this around, or just even a plate. You don't really want to go right from here right to the page because there could be clumps. It could be like too dark. So I like to bring it to the mixing area. And yeah, so just fill in your triangles green. So I kind of focused my green around the outside. And then the middle I kind of left sort of open, but I'm going to put a little water in there. So it's a little bit lighter in the middle. I mean, see how there's like a little lightish patch. Not 100% necessary. Let me see if I can, I'll do this one down here so you can see it better. It's okay if you go outside your lines a little bit. Don't worry about that. Any color green. It could be different shades of green. I think I will do that. I did these ones all the same green, but what was I thinking? I could have done different greens. There's a little watery water in the middle. Yeah, so there you can see that a little better because I made it bigger. There's a bigger one. A little bit waterier in the middle. And when it dries, it might make like a cool cauliflower kind of bloom shape. I enjoy those. It doesn't all have to be perfectly smooth, even watercolor. You got to embrace those cauliflowers. Oh yeah, I said I was going to do different greens. Just falling into my old habits. Okay, let's do something a little more olivey. Olive. I could even mix it together. Make my own color. A little olive, a little emerald. Make a new color. Oh yeah. That's cool. The sky is the limit with the colors. If you want, do you want a red tree? Do a red tree. You want a blue tree? Absolutely. Where else? Where else? This guy. Yeah, some could be darker than others. I could even go back, get some more emerald. Dab in some more darker emerald in there. If you don't have like an emerald, you can mix blue and green together. Dab, dab, dab. Oh, there's a little tree I missed over here. All that prep, all those dots just to paint trees in like 2 minutes. Oh, thank you. The average sim. Thank you so much for that nice compliment. Yeah, feel free to subscribe. Find us on Facebook, Artist Palette Durham. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Facebook. Lots of events coming up. Okay, so I've got my trees. I'm thinking I'm going to do my brown of my cabin or house. I just did it just like a solid brown. just not complicated. Just pick a color brown and paint it brown. If you want to have darker areas, lighter areas, you can do that. So again, I'm taking some of my brown, bringing it up to my mixing area up here, mixing it with some water, making sure I don't have like clumpies. Let's say you have only one shade of brown, but your cabin, you want it more, say, a reddish brown or a yellowish brown. Just add some red to it, add some yellow to it, whatever you want. All right, there's some brown, so I'm going to fill in my cabin. I'm just doing like the siding, the logs. I'm not doing like inside the window. But if you did want to later on paint your windows black, just to really emphasize the blackness of the windows, you can definitely do that. But wait till your brown is dry. Otherwise, the black is going to run into the brown. Now, if any of your trees are near your cabin or touch your cabin, we just don't want the brown and the green to touch. So you can leave a little gap. Whenever you don't want two colors to run together, just leave a little gap. No one's going to see the gap. They're just looking at your beautiful painting. So here we go. I have my green tree near my brown house, but neither color is running into the other because I left a little gap. You can barely see the gap. Okay, so there's my brown cabin. I mean, if I wanted to maybe add a little darker brown, get some darker brown going on here. Maybe I could do a little bit darker near the bottom, or I could do some darker near like the overhang for shadow. But even just one color brown is fine. I'm also going to do that little pole of my porch. There's a little post there. Oh, my chimney. If you want to have a brown chimney, you could do a gray chimney. What else? Yeah, brown or gray seems normal for a chimney. Okay, so that's my cabin. Let's get that mailbox started. We got some red. Let's go with like a fire truck kind of red. I think it's traditional to have a red flag. That I think seems the most common. Red flag. I'm going to have a red door, little flap on the front. If you want to have a different color, go ahead. I'm going to do brown on the post. Do I want the brown I just used? Sure. Brown on the post, but I'm gonna wait a little bit before I do the actual mailbox, just so my brown and my red has a chance to dry a little bit before I do that, like gray or silver or purple or pink or whatever you want your mailbox to be. Okay, let's do what I think is the most fun part, the sky. So far, we've been doing all of our paint wet on dry. So just wet paint on a dry piece of paper. So what I want to do for the sky is fill the whole sky with just a very thin layer of water, and then we'll dribble colors into that. So I'm going to use my slightly bigger brush, and it's just water on my brush. I'm going to do a light coat of water in the whole sky. And just in the sky, so not on the hills. And be careful near your chimney. Not on the hills, not on your roof. just put water where you want sky to go. And I am going kind of through my tiny black trees. That's okay if we have water on those. So yeah, you can kind of see the glossiness from the light glaring on the water. But we're just filling in the sky with water. Okay, so now the paper itself is wet. Damp. It's not drippingly wet. And then you could just dribble in any colors you want. So are you thinking like more of a nighttime, dark blues and blacks and maybe some purples? Are you thinking more daytime, lighter blues? Maybe it's sunset? Sunset colors. Wouldn't that be amazing? Haven't even thought of that. So see how it's like spreading. It's spreading and it gets like all over the place, and it'll stop where the water stops. It won't go beyond, out of the circle. So there's some blue. Let's get maybe here's a Prussian blue, nice dark blue. Dribble some of that in there, and these could overlap. They could be right next to each other, these colors. Sometimes I just dip my brush just in plain water. Plain water, you can dribble in just plain water and see how the paint moves and interacts with each other. Okay, what other colors do I want? Let's go with this one. Yeah, bluey greens would be okay here. Purples, pinks. Oh, we got a little, I had a little drip on the outside. So what I like to do is get a little tissue or a little paper towel. I could just soak up my little accidental drip. Okay, what other colors? I think this is my Payne's Gray over here. Sure, put in some Payne's Gray too. Dab, dab, dab. And when this dries, it's going to look completely different than what it does now. You can't really control what it looks like as it dries. What other color? Purple? Sure. My paper is kind of like curling, warping. I can kind of bend it back to shape. Paint is going to move, flow all over the place. What else do I want? Maybe back to this one. Yeah, mine's kind of on the darker side of things. Maybe it's nighttime. If you want to keep it lighter, use light blue, cerulean, sky blue. Okay, and then I also am going to add some metallic paint in here while it's still wet. I've got some of these from Beam Paint, has some lovely ethically sourced mica paints. What do we got? I got some gold. Nothing wrong with gold in the sky. Let's do gold. Drip, drip, drip. Oh, a little drip. Oops. Dab in some gold. Silver. I've got like a pearly white. Yeah, it's not as shiny. When it dries, it's shinier for some reason. Somehow it gets shinier as it dries. So yeah, look at that shimmer in that sky. Somehow it intensifies. I've got like a shiny blue here too. Put some of that in. This shiny darker blue. Do you want to put some greens or yellows? Maybe it's like Northern Lights. You could do that. That's looking pretty good. I like the kind of blends I have there. Maybe a teeny bit more purple. Maybe a little bit more. See what that does. And don't forget water. Just dabbing little bits of water here and there will do some interesting things as it dries. Maybe I'll dribble some water kind of near where my smoke trail is. And that might end up a little bit lighter, as if it's like a misty area. You could also dab some water where that smoky thing is, and then get a little piece of your paper towel or tissue, and you could like take some away, take some paint away. Little dabs, take a little away. Yeah, that looks good. So it looks lighter over here where my little smoky trail is because I dabbed off some of the paint. What else? A little more gold. I mean, I could keep adding more paint and more paint. At a certain point, you just have to say, okay, stop, let it dry, see what it looks like. Okay, stop, let it dry. Okay, let's, do I want this one or that one? We'll add our mailbox color, and then we'll do all the blue accents to the snow to make the snow kind of pop out in 3D. So I've got silver that I could do the mailbox. If you don't have silver, you could do a very light gray or any color, a yellow mailbox, a lovely white mailbox with a pattern on it. Whatever speaks to you. There we go. So because my red is dry, you could pretty much butt up the silver right up against the red and it's not going to run. Here's my silver mailbox. And then all that blue in the snow. So I did use kind of like shimmery blue, but you could just use regular blue. LMD asks what brand is my metallic paint. So these little cuties here, these are all from Beam Paints. It's a Canadian company. It's an indigenous female business, and they're plastic free, which I love. So I do like to buy lots of paints from Beam Paints. They're doing free shipping worldwide right now. And that is the metallic paints that I'm using. Okay, yeah, so I've got some shimmery blue, but I also have, regular blue as well. Either would work. I'm going to use, I think I'll use this brush, a little bit bigger. So let's look at where I've added some blue. I would say the bottom of each hill. So we want the tops of the hills to be nice and crisp and white and bright, but like the bottom, the valleys is what I'm thinking. Here's a little valley right in here. in the little corners, right in here, a little valley here. Just a hint of blue. And then on the path, I did add some blue, and I went kind of horizontal brush strokes on the path to make it seem maybe it's been walked on. There's some texture there, some bumps. And that's what I did. So I'm going to start with like a lighter blue, and then I might add a scooch of the darker blue. Let's go with this one, shimmery blue. Yeah, little valleys, little hills, the bottoms. So like this is a valley. A little bit of blue there. And then I like to really water it down. So here's kind of my blue. And then I get water on my brush, and I'll just kind of like a little water to water it down, make it a little softer. Here's another little valley. Put some blue in there, shimmery blue or otherwise, and then get some water. Yeah, so you see, here's where I've watered it down. Here's where I haven't. So this is softer. This is a little harsher. So a little water here. Do it again. Right in here. And I could go onto the path too. Sure. Nothing's stopping me. So I've got some blue right along this little valley. Get some water. Soften it. Yeah, you can bring a little of it up. Bring it up a little bit. Yeah, it doesn't have to stay at the very bottom. It could come up a little bit. Get some blue right in this little corner here. Water. Could be right in there a tiny bit. Use your lightest blue and use lots of water, because snow isn't actually blue, but some of the little ice particles could be shining a little bit and kind of look blue to us. Little hints of blue, maybe right along here. So far I haven't done anything on the path itself. We're just getting the main hills and wide expanses of snow here. And if you go outside your circle a tiny bit, that's okay. No one's looking at that. I've gone outside the circle a little bit. Okay, I might grab a teeny tiny bit of some darker blue on my brush, and you could just kind of dabble a teeny bit of darker blue in your wet areas here. That sounds bad. In your wet areas. Ugh. Little bits, tiny bits of darker blue. Where else? Maybe down in here. Okay, starting to get a little bit more 3D. Okay. And then the path. So I have, quite a bit of blue on my path. Maybe around a bend or a corner, it's a little darker. Here's a little corner here, got a little darker in there. Maybe around this bend, a little darker. There's really not a wrong way to do this. Just get a little blue and in some of the bends and turns, edges. Diana, yeah, I'll mention again what brands I'm using. You can also go back in the video too. You can set the playback. So the metallics I'm using is Beam paints for the metallics. A lovely, there's mica. Mica is a mineral. It's in these pigments to give it that shine. Ethically sourced mica is important to note. Beam has free shipping worldwide right now. I sound like a spokesperson for them right now. Not affiliated, but wouldn't mind. Yeah, so I'm just going to add little brush strokes of blue horizontally in my path here to give it kind of a texture. Maybe it's been stepped on and mussed up. Get some water. Yeah, don't forget water. Get some darker in here too. You can get slightly darker blue in some of the corners and bends. Just play around. Play around. As long as you're leaving some white, it comes across as snow. No one's going to think that this is a river, unless you want them, unless you're thinking river. Go. Yeah, it has a little bit more depth, a little bit of texture in there. Yep, this is starting to dry, this sky, and I'm getting all these kind of cool shapes and blooms and cauliflowers, which is not a bad thing. If you want your sky to be really rich and really dark, let it dry and then do a second coat. And it could be like the same colors, but if you do a second coat, it'll just intensify, make it nice and rich, and then like a deep, deep night sky. What else could we add to this? I mean, I do often like to add splatters. So you could add some splattery drips onto here. I think I'm going to hold off. I'm going to refrain from doing it this time. But a lot of my other pieces have those splattery watercolor drips on them. You could add an animal, person, stars in the sky. If you have like a white paint pen, even a whiteout pen, you could dot some stars. What else? Oh, I do want to add a little, blue onto my snowy rooftops. Little blue here. Yeah. Just a little bit of light blue on my snowy rooftop. That's it. That's all. What else could we add? Ooh, get some colored pens, and you could add Christmas lights on your little trees, on those strings of Christmas lights. How cute would that be? Ooh, you could let the snow dry, and then dot some colors for Christmas lights on the roof line. Interesting, cute. Diana asked, does my paper flatten out when dry? Yes, right now it's pretty bumpy where it's the most wet. So I have this big bump here. It does dry out and get flatter. You can kind of help it along. And I also like to store this in like a portfolio, so it'll stay pretty flat. But different qualities of paper will completely flatten or won't flatten. You know, your cheaper brands are going to be a little bit warped. Your really expensive stuff should flatten right out. Mine's kind of medium warped, pretty flat. I'm happy with it, but right now it's very bumpy right here. It's like a dome. It's funny. Yeah, it's hard to show you. Well, yeah, you can kind of see the bump. Good question. Again, my paper is, where is it? The Canson XL watercolor, kind of a medium quality. I'm going to sign this. Do I want to sign this in paint or pen? Paint or pen, up to you. Put your initials, put your whole signature in there. Put the year. Put the year if there's a kid. I love when the kids put their age, like Chris, age 5. That'd be so cute. Super cute. If you guys have any other questions, hit me with your questions. What was it that I was supposed to show? Oh, what watercolor looks like on canvas, right? Did someone want to see that? Let me grab something off the wall. Ugh. It's a kitty cat. Here's a caricature of a cat in watercolor and marker. So yeah, you still can get blooms, those watercolor blooms. Yeah, here's that kind of bloom. But you can also sort of see the canvas texture. You can kind of see the little bumpies of the canvas, which isn't a deal breaker for me. So that's an example of watercolor on a canvas, watercolor and marker, Sharpies in this case. This is Maggie. What else can I show you? I showed you the upcoming events. If you want to share your pictures, share your paintings in our Watercolor Lovers Facebook group. Watercolor with the U, Lovers by Artist Palette Durham Region on Facebook. Every Wednesday, a free tutorial. Every Wednesday. You're welcome. Thank you, Susan. Diana, yeah, you could definitely add some shiny white. I do have some shiny white. I could add that to my snow areas. That's a good idea. Some pearly white, definitely. Will the paper ever go yellow? Maybe over time. Hopefully not with like a very expensive paper, shouldn't yellow. With watercolors, you don't want to have your watercolor painting in an area of high humidity, so like a kitchen or bathroom. And you don't want to have your watercolors on display where there's going to be direct sunlight. So if there's certain walls in your house that get direct sunlight every day, don't hang that there. I don't seal my watercolor paintings, no. Put it behind glass, frame it. I usually just put all my watercolors in art portfolios with clear plastic sleeves because I have hundreds of paintings. Shocking. Yeah, put it in a frame. That'll help preserve it for you. Any other questions, guys? I can't wait to see some of the results in the watercolor group, or if you want to email us, artistspalettedurham@gmail.com. If you want to tag us on Facebook, if you want to message us on Facebook, share your paintings. I'll probably go to this event on our Facebook and make a post, and then everyone can just put all their photos in that post. That's a good idea. I'll do that. You're welcome to CBB. I'm glad everyone had fun. There is a tip link in the description of this video if you want to send me a little tip. I wouldn't mind that. I would love that. That would go towards more art supplies. Surprise. All right. Well, yeah, I mean, we went a little over time, but we had all that prep work to do with the drawing. Okay, I think all the questions are done. Enjoy the rest of your week. Enjoy the rest of your evening. I had so much fun with you guys tonight. Happy painting. Take care, guys. Bye now.